What's up, tribe? This is gonna be a quick drop on American Soul. I'm not gonna necessarily do a play-by-play like I would do a review for American Soul, but I just want to talk about it a little bit. I watched. They had the first two episodes last night. American Soul is a mini series that documents the history of Soul Train. Um, the show, it looks like, not looks like, it is. The show picks up at the point where Soul Train was getting national syndication. If people are not necessarily familiar with the history of Soul Train, it started off as a local dance show in the Chicago area. And so they didn't go through the beginning of how it actually started and all of the grunt work on the front end. It just started with Don Cornelius hustling to get the national syndication. And basically the deal hinged on him being able to do a fire pilot, basically, with a top 10 artist. And so he was trying to get James Brown. James Brown wanted him to pay. And he was like, I'm not going to pay for artists to come on my show. I will never have any credibility, because basically then it'll be based on who could pay me the most, who has the most money. And it was so, in his mind, it was sort of be like payola. And so he was like, I'm not paying for James Brown to be on the show. And so James Brown handlers was like, well, if you ain't paying, then oh well. The owner of the club where he was knew Gladys Knight. And he was like, look, I can get Gladys Knight on the show. I can get you Gladys Knight. And so you start to see where him and Gladys Knight have built this relationship over the, like, and it started there. I didn't realize that Gladys Knight was on his pilot episode for national syndication, and they look like they genuinely became friends. So we see the show from a few people's angles. We see Don Cornelius' angle, him and his wife, and their situation, which is interesting. I'll get back to that. We see the talent scout, I guess. She was the one that was in charge of getting the dancers for the pilot show, or for the show. We see her from a group of friends, a sister and a brother, and a third person that I don't know if this is supposed to be like Shalimar. Remember Shalimar started off as dancers on the show, and they were an actual group, because the three, they're actually a group. And they decided to go, well, not decide, but they were trying to get their big break. And so they're dancers also, so they go on the show. And we see their whole dynamic with the brother and sister. Their father is in Vietnam. They're waiting for him to come home. Kelly Price plays their mom. Kelly Rowland played Gladys Knight. Now, let me tell y'all something. One thing I hate. I knew what was going to happen. This is a spoiler alert, okay? I knew what was going to happen with that damn daddy, and I hated it. I dreaded that moment coming. I said, but the minute they said their father was in Vietnam, I was like, he gonna die. I ain't know when, where, or how, but I was like, he gonna die. And the fact that the way they wrote it, that he died literally on his way home, I was like, come on, y'all. But anyway, and then the third member of their group, which is, he's actually dating the sister out of the three. He gets involved in some old bullshit, and it ends up being a police shooting, and there's that. It's one of those situations where everybody's connected to everybody else. So the talent scout's husband is a police officer that's going to be investigating the shooting that the dancer got involved in, right? And then we see the club owner. We see it from, we see what's going on. So it's all these different moving parts. So it's not just Don Cornelius, how I started Soul Train. It's all these other people and all these other moving parts. You see how he had to deal with the dude in the South who was threatening to boycott because, of course he didn't want the black kids on his TV stations. You see how he's trying to get the big advertisers, how he's trying to get, the blue, what they call the blue ribbon advertisers, and you see how he has to sort of schmooze and play the game. But you also see how Don Cornelius was his own man. He was uncompromising, sometimes to his detriment. But you definitely see how he had a vision, and he was going to stick with his vision, and either you was on his train or you were not. The dynamic with him and his wife was very interesting, because it was clear that there had been some infidelity involved. And his wife, she was like, I trust him. I mean, I forgave you, but I guess she just still wasn't ready to trust him. We see a scene where he invites her to come to the club where he's going to go meet up with Gladys Knight. His wife gets all dressed up and gussied up. She comes to the club, and then she happens to walk in on him flirting with another woman. I want to say they might have even kissed. I'm not sure. And Then when the show got picked up, and he was like, I want you to come to LA. I want you and the boys to come with me to LA. She was like, our relationship won't survive LA. Why don't you stay here in Chicago and you could just travel back and forth? And in my mind, I'm thinking, now what the hell make you think the relationship is going to survive a long distance situation? He's telling you, I want you to move to LA. I want you and the boys to come. This is it. Because that they also made that clear that Don Cornelius had a lot of jobs in a little bit of time, and that, you know, this was a make or break situation for him because he didn't already, and then he dipped into the emergency account after he told her he wasn't going to do it. So thank God it worked out because, but I didn't understand that mindset. And I'm not saying that, clearly she knew more than I knew. But in my mind, I was just thinking to myself, if you don't think y'all relationship would survive in LA, I don't know what she thought was going to happen in LA. Maybe too much temptation, the glitz and the glam. I don't know what she thought was going to go down. But what made you think you were going to survive a long distance relationship? And then it also made me think maybe she thought it was going to be temporary and it wasn't going to work out. Like, yeah, Soul Train got picked up, but it ain't going to work. You know what I mean? So I don't know. But we definitely see where this dissolvement of the marriage is probably very imminent. So I liked it. I liked it. I look forward to, it's a mini series. I'm not sure exactly how many parts, but I definitely look forward to the rest of it. And like I said, I don't know if I'm gonna keep doing it. I don't know if I'm gonna do a play by play, but check it out though. Definitely check it out. We know that I don't know anybody where Soul Train was not a part of their life. I don't know anybody where it wasn't a part of, Saturday morning you had to see, and I still remember seeing people on there for the first time, New Edition and all these other people in my childhood. So definitely check it out. Peace.